Absolutely.
So, gonna go right into game number 2. I love Smurf. He's always just so quick about his next game. Does not want to delay the least bit. Yeah, Siphon looking at his stats here. Oop, we can't log. Can't look at them quite yet. Gotta wait for him to join. He is I believe he was GM last season.
Yeah, I think he
has
was.
quite a few games under his belt.
Leagues and ladders.
Yeah, that's really weird. He has 331 games, so I guess it's a new account for him.
It could be, yeah.
Yep. And game number 2 underway. So, Ohana, PvP. Tell me about this.
It's going to be definitely a lot different from the last map. This map is a lot smaller. There's less room for... I know last game neither player did it, but there's not going to be a lot of room here for going Phoenix or in general for going Stargate. That being said, though, Blink is not that great in this map either. On the last map, Blink could have been a really, really powerful upgrade to get. But in this map, you really don't have a ton of room. There's only, I think, one spot.
Can you blink over there?
I don't think you can.
I think you can blink out, but
yeah,
maybe not in.
I think that's impassable terrain, to be honest.
I mean, you could blink. I don't know if you could blink over that gap. I think they're...
Because that's definitely... I think that's two... what do you call it? 2 levels up, too.
Yeah, I know you can blink 2 levels up. That's rarely ever the problem.
Right, but I don't think you're allowed to blink over impassable terrain.
True. I'm trying to think of any situation where you could do that, and I can't think of one.
But that... So, I mean, in that case, though, there's only really one little spot to blink up, which would be at the natural.
Yeah, be right. Right in that spot right there.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I think Immortals and Colossus are going to be a lot better on this map because you can take that expansion, hold it off. You have the rocks in the back. I've also seen actually quite a bit of the one base Warp Prism into Colossus all in. Kind of the new one of the new things that people are doing in this matchup.
Yeah. Now, what do you think it is that Protoss, the PvP in the matchup, is so stuck on staying on one base? I mean, there are 2 base builds evolving out. I've seen Xenix Mentalist, if you're familiar with him at all. I cast him quite a bit. He does this really crazy 4 Stalker, 1 Gate expand. He saves all his Chrono Boost and puts it into the Stalkers. So he can stop the 4 Gate from ever happening so long as he can snipe the pylon that's going down.
I mean, with any 1 Gate expand or anything like that, you're always going to be at a risk because even if you are prepared for a 4 Gate, there's other kinds of 1 base pressures that can attack and catch you off guard. If it's whether it's a 4 Gate blink, whether it's some kind of Immortal Sentry Stalker all in, or even just like a proxy, or just chronoed units out of 2 gates, you can definitely catch someone off guard if you're not playing into their hands. That's why people always talk about this being a very mind-gamey matchup, which it is, because it all has to do with the reads you make early on.
Yeah, it's definitely like poker in a sense of reading your opponent, what's he doing. And unit composition is so much more crucial in mirror matchups all around. It's just knowing how many units of what does he have. Does he have 3 sentries, 2 zealots, 2 stalkers, and an immortal? All right, well, what do I have? 4 zealots, 4 stalkers, and an immortal.
I mean, you're seeing nowadays the builds that people are doing in PvP tend to be the builds that give you the most information, whether it's going for robotics for a lot of observers, warp prisms, things that give you information of your enemy, or even Phoenix, because you always have an idea of what composition your enemy's going. So you can stay one step ahead in that regard.
Smurf going up the second gas as well as for Siphon. His is a little bit behind. It has gotten 2 gateways out, though. I wonder if he's going to go for a similar build. He's getting out that first stalker. He's putting all his Chrono Boost into probes as well, which is worth noting. Very, very economic style of PvP, but very safe as well. If need be, he can just force field. He can just get out sentries and force field any kind of incoming 4 gate.
I think, like on a map like this, the most standard build that players would be opting for is some kind of 1 or 2 gate robo expand. You get a good number of sentries, maybe some zealots. You could even begin with a 3 stalker, to be honest, and you're just going to go down to that natural and secure the expand and play it a little defensively. So we'll see if the players opt to do that. There's always going to be slight variations, though.
Yeah, Twilight Council. This might be a blink play. It's kind of a late Twilight Council.
Yeah. I mean, it's not terribly late, but
he's getting
the stalkers at first, so he can at least pressure behind this.
Yeah, and my question is he going to be getting an expand out of this, or is it going to be a 4 gate blink all in?
I would say at the timing of that Twilight Council and the 2 gas and everything, it's not going to be a fast expansion. And with blink, you never really can take that fast expansion because
there's a lot of resources. It's 150, 150 into,
and the stalkers themselves are pretty mineral heavy too. So usually. And the thing about blink stalkers is that generally, as the game goes on, they don't get as good because, you know, Immortals and Colossi in larger numbers are going to rip them apart. So they
don't
have
find Colossi particularly effective against Stalkers.
in larger numbers, though, with the buffering army. Like, I'm talking, like, you know, almost maxed army.
This is true. And Stalker will push out, see that probe. That's actually a really good pick for Smurf. He will be able to stop that before it ever gets any scouting information. And you can see that Siphon has seen pretty much nothing, and he's going to be a little bit weary of pushing in.
Yeah. Well, no, this is going to be an okay push. He's got, what, 5 or 6 Stalkers there, Blink on the way. And he's just going to establish himself at the towers. And, you know, behind this, he could be, he actually could be taking a Nexus, but in this case, he's taking the Robotics. So, going to be just doing some kind of a 3-gate, you know, Observer Blink build. So, this is one of those builds you're not going to be getting a fast expansion. It's not economically oriented, but the thing is that you wind up being able to do so much damage that you can oftentimes expand out of this.
Yeah, and you spoke earlier of reading your opponent. In special situations, there's a lot of Stalkers here. You have to read this as Blink. You absolutely 100% cannot mistake this for not being Blink. Way too many Stalkers here. A little bit of a preemptive force field there. Observer's still a long ways out for Siphon. Still has to build, still has to travel. So
a Giant Smurf has to be aware, because you can always blink one Stalker up on the ramp and then blink the rest up if you're not paying attention. So you need those force fields to be there constantly and preemptively to prevent that blink.
And one Immortal's already out. Number 2 is already on the way. He's actually out already. So number 3 to follow suit. I think Smurf is going to be... It's kind of an opposite of the last game where Siphon took that quick expand and Smurf, you know, tried to drill it really, really hard and just couldn't succeed.
Honestly, I like Smurf's position right now because he can also do a pro pull if he has to. And going to be blink. Oh, losing one Stalker, actually. That's a little sloppy. But again, the longer this game goes on, the more and more this is going to tilt into Giant Smurf's favor with that natural expansion starting to mine.
And just a little bit of the mineral income plus the additional Chrono Boost. I feel like that's something that a lot of players seem to discount.
Well, because the Chrono is obviously going to help with that Immortal count,
and
bring it up as high as possible. And a big blink up on top of the Immortals. He needs to focus those guys down as soon as possible, but I don't know. These Stalkers are getting awfully low in health, and only a few builds left with another Immortal reinforcing. He can pull pros if he has to even. I think a Giant Smurf is going to hold this push, and I don't know what Siphon can do now. I don't think he can transition out of that.
That was a really sketchy hold, too. He wasn't microing the Immortals all that much. He was just letting them do... Maybe he was trying to focus.
That being said, though, Siphon was not actually focusing the Immortals down either. Oh, look at that. Actually blinking in from that one position I believe you can blink from.
That's pretty big. That'll be able, he will be able to escape, so I guess
one Stalker getting caught there. So, I think you can blink in at least one of those positions up there.
Have to test that out. I never played too much on this map. PvP.
I don't often go blink either, so it's not something I see a whole lot. But the Immortal count is steadily getting higher and higher, and I don't think he's going to be able to pick any more of these Immortals off, that's for sure. And he may even lose another few Stalkers, which would be huge. Every Stalker counts right now.
And Siphon trying to pressure in all ways possible, but Smurf, the 2 Immortals, so powerful.
Now, Siphon just now trying to take his expansion. He realizes that he can't actually hold any longer.
He has put down a Robotics Bay as well behind this.
Yeah, but this is just... Like, even
Immortal is good against Colossi as well.
You know what? I'm kind of thinking he may even choose to do Immortal drops rather than Colossus. Because, or some kind of a Warp Prism drop, because I don't actually think he can get a Colossus out like in enough numbers to be useful. Because 3 Immortals against 1 Colo, you're not going to have range in time.
I think Warp Prism micro with the Immortal inside, 2 Immortals might be the best bet.
He knows that there's not a whole lot of Stalkers out anyway for a Giant Smurf.
Yeah, so I think that's probably an astute assumption there.
First Immortal on the way, too, so he may be getting 2 Immortals. Actually, starting on that second Immortal now, Siphon is. And as soon as that finishes, we'll see if he adds on the speed upgrade for the Warp Prism. Adding a Colo now after that Immortal.
So looks like he's just going to go straight Colossi. I think the Warp Prism play might be a little bit more beneficial to the overall, Blink Stalker is very maneuverable. Abuse that. Warp Prisms are ridiculously fast with that upgrade. Almost
absolutely
fastest dropship in the game. One of the fastest units.
You can be picking off Colossus and stuff with that too. I mean, it's insane.
Oh, maybe he's gonna get 1 Colossi and then get, or maybe 1 or 2 Colossi and then get the Warp Prism. But
it's possible.
Here's the situation right now. Siphon is very, very down and out. If Smurf decides to push like he has 4 Immortals. That's huge. 4 Immortals is ridiculous. You're gonna one-shot Stalkers left and right.
Yeah.
Easily.
And honestly, they're going to do pretty decent at tanking Colossus Splash. They're just not, I think he can even take a 3rd now if he wants and just hold this big all in. I imagine it would be a 2 base all in coming from Siphon because he really is strapped for money right now. He's just now setting up his second base.
Yeah, it's also, I mean, if Smurf keeps on waiting, though, and he waits way too long, Siphon can catch up on two-base economy. It's pretty much the rule of StarCraft is your advantages are pretty much on a closing window. You're going to have an advantage, but it only lasts so long. And after a certain amount of time, you're going to be in a situation where your huge advantage that you have is now minuscule, and it may not even be an advantage at all. Maybe your opponent has an advantage because he was able to be, because he knew he was behind, he was a little bit greedier. He was able to attack a little bit more assertively than you were.
That would like, we'll see now if Siphon were to go for a fast third, for instance, then I would agree that it would be a situation where a Giant Smurf is letting that lead slip away. But if a Giant Smurf just takes his third now, and I believe he's probably gearing up to do that, actually, getting a forge, getting upgrades. If he's just doing every possible thing he can to stay ahead in tech and economy, I think he still will maintain that advantage, at least for now.
I absolutely agree. Now, upgrades, like you said, are a pretty big crucial part of this. Now, what do you think of the fact that Smurf doesn't have a Twilight Council of his own down? Do you think Charge is going to be kind of imperative in this?
No, not really. I don't think he needs it right now. He's going double. Oh, no, he's not going double. It's Siphon right now is going for double Robo Colossus. So this opens up a scary window where Siphon could potentially have more Colossus. Actually, Giant Smurf actually just added his own second as well, just now starting his second Colossus from that other robotics. So in this scenario where they're both going Colossus, I still think that Smurf is ahead, and the Twilight Council, I don't see it being really used for much more than +2 ground attack at this point.
Interesting that Siphon has more Colossi, and that's what I was talking about, like that timing window of having an advantage. Yeah, Siphon doesn't have a range, but he has more Colossi, and that might just be enough.
Yeah, I mean, it could be, but the problem is that the walking distance in this map is, by the time he gets there, his Giant Smurf's collar are going to be finishing up. He's got 2 robotics, and then he's got those 4 mortals anyway. So I don't know if that window even is going to be here for him.
Yeah, I think those 4 immortals, I totally forgot about those guys. Those are going to be huge.
Yeah, and they're decent against Colossus. And his range is
they're
not
considered
even
the hard
yet.
Counter, apparently, but the true counter seems to be Colossi. Colossi counter Colossi.
Well, I mean, the problem is that if you just have immortals, you just get force fielded, or they're going to get the zealots are going to be buffering against them and all that. So
and Starker will scout out this probe right here. That probe he will not see that a third has gone down.
Yeah.
And that's pretty big. So Siphon's got to be a little bit weary of here. It's like, if he has a third, I might be able to kill him. If he doesn't, and he has a lot of Colossi. Holy crap.
Well, this position's going to be, I think it's going to be favoring Smurf if he can get some more Colossus to join this. And there's just not a lot of units here in the ground to buffer for Siphon's Colossus. So once these Stalkers and Immortals fall, everything else is going to go down.
GG, man. Those Immortals made a huge difference in that engagement. I think that's why Smurf was able to take it.
They're just such a good buffer unit. They tank, they deal damage to the Stalkers.
The hardened shields, they do 50 damage a shot to the Colossi, which are armored units. I mean, a million and one reasons why those Colossi are great in that situation. Or those Immortals are great in that situation. So we're tied up 1-1 right now. We will be going to Game 3 very shortly as soon as we get the map pick from Siphon. I assume they'll just probably be invited.